Welcome to Seasonal Stays and Campfire Days. I'm your host Josh, and you're watching Josh's RV Tech Tips. Today's episode, we're going to be talking briefly about the weight distribution hitch and why it's so important to get one. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why should I listen to this guy whose videos have not been at a camper or at a campground, have just been either at this table or at his desk? Well, first, our camper is in storage right now, and we don't have anywhere to put it for us to use it and show things. So in the next couple of months, we're going to reopen it at the campground, and that's when our videos are going to start going to show us at the camper. Second, with towing, I have some experience. I've been pulling campers for years, been pulling trailers for, I don't know, almost 15 years at this point, maybe more. I have experience with the entertainer side of things, entertainer coaches, so bus and trailers. I was also a semi-truck driver too, doing both, just regular loads, although the picture that I chose for this is definitely not a regular load. And then doing oversized stuff. So, talking about trailering things is pretty much a pretty decent amount of it. So the question is, do you need a weight distribution hitch? And the answer to that is, in my opinion, about 80% of the time, especially if you're pulling a camper. Campers are usually longer, they're usually heavier, and some trucks can handle it and some trucks can't. It depends on, the truck. So, I'm going to be talking about our situation in particular, which is we have a 2015 F-150, the 3.5 liter V6 EcoBoost, our Keystone Springdale, our 38 BH, that's almost a 40-foot camper. And yes, I do pull a 40-foot camper with my F-150. And we also pulled my parents' camper, which that's a 34-foot, if I remember correctly, 34 or 36 foot. That's a Coachman Catalina. That's also it's almost as heavy as our camper, but the tongue weight is heavier. We're going to talk about that too. But there's essentially there's one very popular weight distribution hitch. It's we got the bar type. The bar type, I'm not a huge fan of. They're loud. The bars kind of act like springs, in my opinion, especially when you're towing something. Well, they just act like springs because they bounce when the trailer's light, bounces when it's heavy. But they do help with like sway control and then the weight distribution on it too. The one that we use is called the Anderson hitch. We use it's rated for 12,000 pounds. Our trailer, the Springdale, is almost 10,000 pounds. We're like a couple hundred pounds less. But we spec'd out our trailer to be pulled by the F-150, and yes, I know there's gonna be a lot of people that are like, that is way too heavy for a half ton. Remember my qualifications, because it all depends on how comfortable you are and what your experience is towing. So we're gonna talk a little bit about the truck itself, and then we're going to talk about the trailer, and we're going to talk about weights, and then it's going to kind of make sense why we use a weight distribution hitch, especially the one that we use. So to start things off, everything that I'm about to talk about is meant for a bumper pull trailer. So that's something that you hitch up to, on near the bumper. It's not meant for fifth wheels. They do make stuff for fifth wheels, for towing, but we don't have a fifth wheel, so I'm not going to be covering anything for fifth wheels. It's going to be the bumper pull stuff. So, with that being said, I have this chart right here, and I'm going to be popping it up on screen. This is for my specific truck. Now, we have a 2015 F-150. It is the Super Crew 4x4 with the 3.5 liter V6 turbo diesel. Or, I'm sorry, not turbo diesel. I would like to get a diesel at some point, but it's a turbo, twin turbo. So if you look at the towing capacity of our truck, the way that we read this graph here, now we look at the axle ratio because the engine's the same. Look at the axle ratio. We got the 3.55. We don't even have the 3.73. We got the 3.55. So it's not the heaviest gear ratio on the back. But with that, we have to also look at the Super Crew, which is all the way on the side. The Super Crew cab, we have the 4x4 Super Crew with the 6.5 foot bed, which means that we have a 157 inch wheelbase. Now, kind of line that up. And we look at it, and I'm looking at my rear, my axle rating, which is just over 3,000 pounds, which puts us into the bracket of the truck can handle 17,100 pounds. That is the gross combined vehicle weight rating. Now, 17,100 pounds, that's a lot of weight. So, but that's the truck and the trailer together. Now, you go all the way over. Now we're looking at the 11,700 pounds. That is the towing capacity of that truck. So, based off of this graph, I can pull 11,700 pounds with a gross combined vehicle weight rating of 17,100 pounds. Now, that's that graph. So, on this iPad, because I was too lazy to print it out like that, I have the cat scale readings. Not for the Springdale, but for the Catalina. So, I'm going to break this down a little bit. I'll get into a more in-depth video later about how to do this and the calculations and everything. But essentially, this first one that's up on the screen right now, this is just the truck by itself. It's a full tank of gas. It's me and my dad sitting in it. The steer axle on it, which is the front, the tires that steer, we're sitting at 3,580 pounds. The drive axle is 2,820 pounds. That's the back tires. The trailer axle reads 0 because we don't have a trailer. So total, my truck by itself weighs 6,400 pounds. So in order to figure out hitch weight and, if we're actually safe with our towing situation, we need to also hook back up. And most of the time, you'll get your unloaded weight without the trailer, and then you'll hook your trailer up without the weight distribution hitch. You just go on the trailer or on the scale, and then you hook up your weight distribution hitch, and that's how you get your numbers. But right now, I just went from no trailer to weight distribution hitch with the trailer. Now the second scale ticket, that's showing with the trailer attached to the truck. So the steer axle on this is 3,360 pounds. That's a 220 pound difference that was taken off the front of the truck, which it would be a lot worse if the weight distribution hitch wasn't there, because what happens is when you put the trailer down on the hitch, the back of the truck sits, but then it also lifts the front of the truck up. And with the weight distribution hitch, it helps push forward that weight to be pushed more onto the front of the truck. Makes it a little bit more even. So our steer axle is at 3,360 pounds. The drive axle, the back axle on the truck, is now sitting at 3,960 pounds. That is an addition of 1,140 pounds. Then our trailer axle is sitting at, now this is the axles on the trailer, 8,080 pounds. For a total of 15,400 pounds between the truck and the trailer. That's our GCVWR in real time, 15,400 pounds, which according to this, we are within our rating for the truck. Now, here's the important thing, hitch weight. And this is something that you do with a weight distribution hitch. This helps with it, kind of helps it helps move the weight a little bit, but your hitch weight in this particular situation is 1,140 pounds. So your hitch weight should be between 10 and 15% of what the trailer is, because in this situation the trailer itself is 9,000 pounds. Just by itself, 9,000 pounds. Tongue weight of it, 1,140 pounds. That puts us at 12%. We are 100% within the safe range for towing this trailer with the F-150. With the experience that I have, and with the Anderson weight distribution hitch, total confidence in pulling this. Now, I'm not saying go spec out a truck and spec out a trailer to do this. There's if you don't have the proper experience, it can be a very dangerous situation, and it's very quick that something can go wrong. So with those numbers, with that amount of weight, the 9,000 pound trailer, 1,140 pounds on the hitch, you need a weight distribution hitch, 100%. Now, the Ford manual for our situation, the Ford manual states if the trailer is over 5,000 pounds or the tongue weight is over 500 pounds, they recommend using a weight distribution hitch. Now, there's people out there that just completely ignore that, and there's some people that will follow that to a T. But you need to look at your truck's manufacturer. You need to look at the manual. You need to actually see this stuff. Even before you go and buy a trailer, you need to know this information. But the biggest thing to take away from this is the fact that most campers exceed that rating, and you need a weight distribution hitch. Now, I recommend the Anderson hitch 100%. That has saved us in so many ways. And I'm going to be doing an in-depth video on it, so I'm not going to be talking about it that much now. But this video is just mostly, yes, you need a weight distribution hitch. So, if you made it to the end of the video, I appreciate you watching and listening. If you have any questions, go ahead and comment those down below. If you want to tell me that I'm wrong, that I shouldn't be trailering a 40-foot camper on a half-ton truck, you're more than welcome to say what you have to say in the comments. But I know what I can pull with it, and I do not recommend it to everybody. Some people, yeah, sure, if you got the experience. But if you want to go ahead and leave a comment, great. Let me know what you guys are pulling with and what your camper is. Love to know. And make sure to go ahead and subscribe, and then of course like the video, There's so many videos I know on YouTube that say it, but it does help if you go out and do it, and it's a real quick thing to do. And appreciate again for watching, and we'll see you next time.